How's everybody doing? It's been a hell of a day. Sunny now, but it poured all morning. Yeah, that little patch of zucchini right there. We picked 500 and some pounds of zucchini out of that today. In rubber boots in the pouring rain. And after we got done washing and putting everything away, which was about 3 o'clock when we finished, my left knee was about done, and I actually had to sit down. I took a nap. I ain't gonna lie to you. Boy, I was wore out. But anyway, yeah, I think Carol's wore out too. You know, that was just the zucchini. There was actually, when we got all done, it was about 600 pounds of product that we picked and washed and put away. But anyway, I had this video, yeah. I had a question come on one of my videos about where does the blade supposed to run in contrast to the carriage. Now, I got this book here, and it's kind of interesting, and hopefully this will be clear enough so you can read it. You can hit pause there if you want to read it. But anyway, right in this area here, it says position guide track so carriage will clear the saw by a ½ inch. Simple as that. That's what the clearance is supposed to be, which is about what it is where they welded this piece of ½ inch on, which doesn't even belong on the carriage. When you get back here to the original carriage, which is where it actually should be measured from, if I can get my tape measure out, you know, mine is about 1 1/8 inch, 1 1/16. So mine actually isn't out, you know, as close to the carriage as it should be. But like I say, I had that damn metal that somebody put on there, and what it really does, it means that the last board that you put on is thick. But where I made it out of a piece of channel iron here, it was a 10 inch, I think. Pretty sure that's 10. F check it and see here. Yeah, 10 inch. Back when I built this, I think it was $1,800 for the 3 pieces. There's 3 pieces there, 40 feet long, I believe it is. So anyway, my problem is down in here is, unless I go and start cutting back this steel and making a hole for my guide, I can't get the blade any further back that way. I could bring the track out, but as you can see, the track is lined up right with the edge all the way down through. So anyway, it is what it is. It's not a perfect world. My last board's a thick one. I don't know, it's kind of a waste, but a guy could very easily, which I've seen a lot of mills do, you know, down here on the bottom, and I may do it. They just put I could have done it with this too, actually. I could have just made it come out here about 3/4 inch, and down in the bottom, when you're doing your cant, you just shove it up against, and your distance, you know, you can actually finish 1-inch board on these if you have something in here for a spacer. And I may do that. I don't know. I got to make sure that when I get done my last cut, I'd like to have it so it's 1 3/4, and then I can run on the scale right down when I'm doing the 2-inch. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Well, within about a week of putting this old girl into use anyway. So I just wanted to show you that. If you ever know anybody that has one of these, you know, original manuals, borrow it and make a copy of it. Alan there, the neighbor, had this original copy, and it shows the whole thing right up through. Has all the extra, you know, options. Shingle and shake making operation that you can put on one of these. Planers. Here's a gang edger. Actually, Alan's family has one of those. Yeah. Then other stuff here. Yeah, all kinds of neat stuff. But another thing that I found that I borrowed was Alan had this Small Sawmills Pocket Guide. And this has an interesting article in here on sawing big wood. And I'll find it in a minute because it's got a picture and a diagram. And Matt Gleachy and them guys who have enough power on the mill, it's pretty interesting. So this right here, oversized logs. Now I'm going to try to get this so the sun is right. Hopefully you can read this. Like I say, you might have to pause it at a good point. There's the top part of it. And there's the rest of it right there. Finger's making a shadow there, I didn't realize. So anyway, this diagram down here, which you can pause, what they're doing, this part A here, that's the magic number that Mark has written up there. I believe it's 22 inch. So what he'd have to do is put a big log on, put it all the way back, get it squared up where he wants it. And well, you really can't even bring it out any with the offsets, because when you flip it down the other way, you got to have it running square. Otherwise you'd end up with a pie. But anyway, you make your first cut at your 22 inch mark. Just plow it right through the log. And then you take his turner and you turn it until that line is horizontal. And then you know, have your carriage open right up when you do that. And then you go ahead and you start slabbing off, and you're cutting under a cut every time. And you go until you get back to your magic number of 22 inch, and then you turn it again, put it up again, and then make another cut. And you keep doing the quarters of the log. And it's a pretty neat, real neat idea on how to do it. I've never tried it because I don't have a lot of power when I'm doing this. And I've had them big enough that I could have, but anyway, yeah, one more little video there, picture there of how that works. I just thought there I'd show that to you. You can see this right here would be set on your 22 inch. You'd make your first cut. Then this horizontal cut here is your first cut that you just made. You put it up. Then you just cut your boards underneath. Then you rotate it up again. That's the chunk you just sawed out. Then you make another bunch, and so on. And you just keep working it right down until there's nothing left. And it's not quarter sawing because, you know, you're not flipping the log end for end. But anyway, yeah, pretty interesting thing. And that book, though, that the Small Sawmill, I guess the name of it is right full of information. Yeah, the Small Sawmills, a Pocket Guide. It's made from the United States Department of Agriculture, Forest Service, Agriculture Booklet number 70. So that was put out by the United States Department of Agriculture. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. So another thing of interest on these Belsaws, this ship for bought 1975. I hope to hell that ain't the one that had the writing on it and it didn't come out. I gotta look here. I'm gonna bring you back if I find it. Hang on a minute. Okay, I got it figured out. Yeah, so this was bought in 1975, set up in 1976. Now this is one that Alan has, and it was sold for $1,450. Now I have one that's the same vintage as that, but on metal. No, it was on wood, and it was sold in 1980. And it built one camp, and then it was disassembled. Well, it wasn't disassembled, it was just basically abandoned. I'll show it to you here. So this one here in the building, which actually has the better carriage, it's a triple carriage, and it's also got the good track. And I could take that one off and put the new stuff on that one, but you know, it is what it is. But that right there is a Belsaw from 1980 that was meant to be set up on wood. And you can see the carriage. It ran V-belts. You can see over there in the corner. Abba's right on the bottom, hanging from that chain. And like everything, you know, this thing's been sitting out in the woods in the rain forever. That bearings on the husk there are all bad. And you can see how sloppy it was made. Excuse me. You look at the shaft that goes across that runs the controls and the drum, you can see that the side on the right is probably a 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch further down than the part on the left. You know, it's weird how this stuff was put together pretty hastily, and it really wasn't that accurate, and it worked. You know, nobody knew the difference. So anyway, yeah, that's my rambling for the Belsaw. I'll go get that book before I forget it. Yeah, a fella made a question there, said he'd like to know what that spec was supposed to be. 1/2 inch between the saw blade and the carriage is what it was designed for. So anyway, yeah, if I had a way to make this thing into a PDF or something, you know, I don't know how to do all that technical stuff because I'm not a computer savvy guy. I do well to get the damn YouTube stuff on. It's a good thing they make it simple. So anyway, yeah, we got probably a 1/2 inch of rain this morning, maybe an inch, I don't know. It rained hard for a long time. It started in about 7, about the time we started picking, and I think the last maybe half hour or 45 minutes that we were picking on that zucchini, it stopped raining. But while we're here doing this little chat here, we'll do an update on this. So this is how the lawn ended up. They got done this project. This is 4 inch minus. It's pretty heavy, pretty stout gravel. So when we do the floor here, we're going to have another 4 inches of lift. And I actually think I may have them pour a cement pad out here. Something that goes out about 5 inches thick. Goes out 10, 12 feet, you know, and comes back. Just something so that, you know, if you want to change a tire on something and you got something in here, you can roll the jack out there and do something. But, and then beyond that, once we get that done, we'll put some gravel in here. Raise it up about another 3 inches or so, you know, we'll taper it down. So it'll be good. We're waiting right now on the concrete guys on this floor. Yeah, they've been notified, and everything that they did before needed to be done. I mean, I couldn't do anything. Right now I can start building, and we're busy enough that I'm not really, you know, I'm not going to get too excited. If they haven't come and done the floor within like 2 weeks, I'll probably say, well, okay, we'll go ahead and start building and do these 2 walls, and they'll have to, you know, run the trucks, you know, in through here a little ways to get the pin, and I'll leave this wall out front here for the last, so I don't get nothing overhead of them. That way they can get into the corners easier. But I'm going to try to leave it, you know, I'm going to give them a couple of weeks. I don't want to make it difficult for them. They've been good enough to fit me in, and they are fitting me in. I mean, there are people out there waiting 6 months for concrete work. I'm And from the time I asked them about it, you know, it was only a week or two when they fit me in. So pretty nice of them. So I got no complaints. And the guys that did the dirt work, it was pricey, but they fit me in. They got me done. And the job that they did was excellent. No complaints. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Yeah, that's just a Belsaw update there, and a little update on everything. It's about 5 o'clock. Carol's going to shut down the stand and start doing supper. And I'm going to clean. I got to clean up in my shop there. I was trying to get this therm oil that's on the back ready to go there, and I couldn't find an oiler that would work. Matter of fact, I'll take you inside. I'll show you that little detail. When you're working on old oilers and you're digging this soft asbestos out, you can pretty much guarantee that nobody's been into it for a while. Yeah, I'll get that stuff out of here because I don't like it too well. But so this right here is, I'll actually take it apart for you so I can show it to you. This is pretty interesting. This oiler here. I mean, I fought this oiler for probably an hour. And I finally stole the top off it and put it on another one. But the other one wouldn't work. Guess I had that plenty tight. But I was trying everything, trying to get this thing not to leak. See if I can get that damn gasket off here. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get out my jackknife. Yeah, so anyway, I'll show you the problem area here that I think is the problem. There we go. Put this over here in the vise. Well, yeah, now you can see that little spot where the threads are broke out in there. I think that goes through and makes a hole. I believe that's my problem. When I got this oiler, it didn't have a top on it, you know, to flip it. And I couldn't quite figure out why. Well, it's got a defect right there. And I'll tell you, I was an hour and a half finding that damn defect. And it's too bad because it's a nice oiler. I kind of like it. It's not the one that came on it. The one that came on it has got a mongrel size glass on it. You know, this right here is the one that came on it. And as you can see, it's got a standpipe in there on that left side. So this is a unmarked, as far as I know, oiler. But as you can see, the glass all stove up in it. About half of them that you find are. But it's kind of funny. I found 2 oilers down at the engine show, because these things are pretty expensive when you buy a new one. Found 2 glasses at the engine show, and I picked one of them up. Well, it was an oiler, all complete. No broken glass in it, just dirty. I picked it up and I said, how much you guys want for that? And he went over and asked the guy that owned it, and he says, $5. And at the time, I'd bought a book for 10, so I had a 20 there. I said, well, I'll take 2 of them the same size. I says, $5 a piece. How's that? So I bought 2 of them, $5 a piece. It was buy of the show. But anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. I could ramble forever on bullshit. So yeah, if this helped anybody, and you enjoyed it, don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe. Because this is a real nice oiler. It's small for that engine, but it's a real nice oiler just the same. It's not all bent up, and you know, it's actually a Viking oiler. You can see the name of it right there, cast. Yeah, don't know when it was made. It's 3- something dash. Yeah, so who knows. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go. Hope you enjoyed, and talk to you next time.